My workspace was a mess, so I made this honeycomb storage wall to clean up that mess. My name's Josh, and let me show you how I did it. I first wanted to show you how messy my desk really was here. My workspace is covered in tools, and it makes it hard to really do anything with the 3D printer, so this is why I wanted to make this wall. The first important thing to figure out is where to find these files, and I found them on printables.com, but there's other sites. I've used Thingiverse before. They've got good files too, as well as paid files from some sites. So here's printables.com. You can find anything you want on here, anything your mind can think of. There's a good chance somebody's already made it. So what I did is I just typed up HSW, and it pulls up all of the different attachments that you can put on this wall and shelves and all that stuff. The only thing that doesn't happen is when you type in HSW, it doesn't actually pull up the main wall, so you do have to come over and type Honeycomb storage. When you do that, it'll be the first one that pulls up. So once you do that, you can go into it and grab all the files. Once I had grabbed all these files, I dropped them all into Ultimaker Cura, which is a free slicer that you can find online, and it works perfectly for everything I need. And basically what you do is you put these in here, you set all your settings for how you want it to print, and you click slice. It'll tell you how long it's going to take. You click save to disk, and you put it on your SD card and click it right into your printer. So I'm not really going to walk through what I did for all these. I basically just dragged and dropped them in and arranged them how I needed in Cura. It's super intuitive, super easy to do. And once I had them all in Cura and I had all the files ready, it was off to start printing. Printing was quite a long process here. I believe I was about 60 hours all in once I printed the 3x3 wall and all the attachments. But that's just part of the game when you're on an older printer. You can see I have some stringing on this board here. It's only at the bottom layers, so I may need to up bed temp just a little bit higher to get some better adhesion there. So here were some of our first parts finally finished up here. We had 2 of the honeycomb boards done, and then a couple shelves and a couple connectors here. And none of them are really cleaned up super well, so there's a little bit of stringing on most of the pieces that I'll easily clean up with just a knife. And as you can see, there's that one that clips the 2 together, and then the one that I'm holding there was a connector piece, so that'll go in the corners or wherever necessary to drill into the wall and hit a stud or drywall anchor, whatever I have to use. There's our little bearing shelf, and you can see kind of how it'll sit in there. We'll have to get some of those pass-through clip-in pieces for that to stick into, because obviously it's not a big enough hexagon just to go straight into the wall. There's our big shelf there as well. So I ended up reprinting all of the connectors and going with blue as the color. I thought that the contrast would be pretty cool with the black wall and all the blue connectors, and I really like blue. It's my favorite color, so I decided to go with that. These next couple of minutes are all at 20 times speed, and it basically shows the whole process of me putting this thing together, putting it up on the wall, putting all the hooks on, and then getting all my tools up there. So I'll be done talking here, and I'll let you enjoy the process. I wanted to slow this part down and explain what I was doing. A couple of these were pretty tight fits into the inserts, so I found that if you just hit it with a little torch for just 1 second there, they become just pliable enough for you to kind of squeeze them and reshape them the way you need. You're probably better off using a heat gun, probably a little safer, but this did the trick for me. I had to do it a couple times to get it to the shape I needed, but then it went right in.
One of the things I did not expect about this honeycomb storage wall is that some of the pieces are actually quite difficult to get together. I had to give them a little bit of love, otherwise known as use a hammer. Now I wasn't hitting it super hard, but just a little tap was enough to get a lot of these in, but it really kind of hurt to try and do it with your hand. So I didn't really expect that. It could have been my settings in Cura. I just had that standard quality, and I put the speed at 60 millimeters a second. I thought I'd be fine, but honestly it all worked out anyway. It's all super snug together, really nice on the wall, so I thought it went pretty well. Now, this storage wall isn't quite big enough to carry all of my tools. I've got a little screwdriver with all the extra bits in it. I've got threaded inserts. I've got a whole assortment of screwdrivers. I've got all my M-nuts and everything. These can't fit on that wall, as you can tell. There's really no room. There's also not enough room for all my tools anyway. The Allen wrenches are just sitting on a shelf here. So in the future, I plan to add another row this way, and add a bunch more shelves and different storage units for all the tools to fit perfectly.
Well, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy the video, consider subscribing. I've got tons of awesome content coming up. I plan on making a storage unit for all of my filament with a 3D printed part. I plan on extending this wall in the future to get more storage, and I also plan on making a robotic arm with 6 degrees of freedom controlled by an Arduino. Thanks for coming along. I'll see you next time.